Howdy, people. So I'm here in Lenore City doing a 10-hour break. I've been doing some research on the Peterbilt and then trying to compare that to the Freightliner Cascadia Crete selling. You know, from what I can gather, the Peterbilt, the warranty is not as good as Freightliner. Well, I mean, it is, but not as many miles. The warranty can go up to 600,000 miles if you get the Peterbilt PACCAR extended warranty, up to 600,000 miles. Freightliner, you get that extended warranty included with the price at Crete. 84,000 for 2022 includes the extended warranty up to 750,000 miles. See, the factory or the original warranty on the Cascadia is up to 500,000. Then you get you purchase the additional warranty for additional 250,000 miles. So you're like, well, if we're just looking at warranties, then it's like, well, Freightliner's got the better warranty. Yeah, but here's the deal. If I have my third truck, I'm probably not going to keep it past 600,000 miles. So I don't really need a warranty beyond 600,000 miles, because if everything would go well, I would buy a truck around 350,000 miles, like a Peterbilt, drive it up to 600,000 miles. So you basically would have it for 2 years, trade it in, get another one. And that 600,000 mile warranty would be okay because I was going to trade it in anyways. I didn't need the extra 150,000 mile warranty Freightliner had to offer. So I don't think that's going to be a limiting factor with me. I don't think the difference in warranty is going to make or break, whether I go to Peterbilt or go to Freightliner. I would say dollar for dollar, the Crete truck purchase program is probably going to be your better deal because you're not going to pay that 6% sales tax. However, you will have higher truck payments because they'll expect you to pay it off in 20 or 33 months. So your truck payment would be $2,800 to $3,000 per month with a $10,000 down payment. And the interest rate is going to be the same, 10-11%, at Crete as it is going to be at PACCAR Financial, 10-11%. But the thing with the truck loan from the dealership is that you can get it in 5-year payment terms. So that would lower your monthly payment. So, when we're comparing and contrasting, purchasing a truck from Crete, a Freightliner Cascadia versus purchasing a Peterbilt from a dealership, the warranty is not an issue. The price is probably pretty close, because Crete's going to require you to have that required maintenance account, and they're not going to pay interest on the money that's in that account. They'll get the interest when they put it in an account. You don't think they just, put it in a non-interest bearing account to you. You got all these owner-operators paying 18 cents per mile. I guarantee you they're putting it into an interest-bearing account. So you're losing probably $1,000 a year in interest not earned by having that maintenance account. So, when you think about that 6% sales tax savings, you save 6% of sales tax, but you pay by having 18 cents per mile in that required maintenance account. So did you really gain anything? Not really. I mean, you may have gained maybe $1,000 difference. If you go with a dealership, you don't have the nanny oversight from Capital Casualty telling you what you can spend your money on, and you'll have more flexible payment terms. So these are all things that I think about when I'm trying to decide between these two different trucks. If just say, for example, the reliability is the same, they're gonna be as productive as one is from the other. The warranty, not an issue because I'm not going to keep the truck past 600,000 miles. You look at the payment terms, payment terms more flexible from the dealership. So I'm really leaning towards the dealership on my next truck purchase. So, I was like, well, okay, explore this warranty issue. And it's like, well, you can get it up to 600,000 miles. That's good enough. That's all I need. I would go with the Cummins engine because from the little research I've been able to do, it seems like the Cummins has more horsepower and more reliability and has higher value than the PACCAR. When you look at Peterbilts with the MX-13, which is probably a 13-liter engine, it's a PACCAR motor, and they're not listed at a high price. You can get them cheaper than you can with a truck with similar miles, but it has a Cummins. The Cummins will be 15-liter, more horsepower, better motor. I don't know why PACCAR has a reputation of being a bad motor. I've seen reviews where it says that it's good at fuel mileage, but it often loses a fuel injector. And I was thinking about that. I'm like, well, a lot of that stuff would be covered under warranty. But, there's still got a lot of complaints out there about the PACCAR motor. Now, guys complain about everything. Guys complain about Freightliner. Guys complain about every truck out there. They're never really satisfied with the reliability and performance of the trucks. So it's like, well, if you look at the complaints against the PACCAR motor, yeah, there's complaints. But if you look at, a Detroit diesel, they got complaints. Everybody has complaints, because they can't make a perfect motor. Someone's going to find fault with it somewhere. But I just think PACCAR has a reputation, of not having good motors. I think, if you said, okay, here's your choice, Detroit diesel, Cummins, or PACCAR, I think most truck drivers would probably prefer the Detroit engine. They would probably prefer Detroit diesel. And then ranked second would come Cummins, and then last would be PACCAR. When I first started driving truck, I drove an '07 Columbia. It had a Mercedes-Benz engine in it. That thing ran incredibly well. That would have a good reputation. A Mercedes-Benz engine would have a good reputation. That's German engineering. Volvo has a good reputation, but guess what they have for engines? Detroit diesel. They have DD13s in their trucks. I don't know what Mack has. It'd be interesting. I'm going to start exploring the Mack truck. It's like I got plenty of time before I decide on the truck purchase. So we'll look at each and every one of them. Kenworth has the Cummins, but they probably could. I don't know if they have the PACCAR motors in Kenworth or not. I know they use Cummins a lot. International is using Cummins. Freightliner is using Detroit diesel. Volvo is using Detroit diesel. So it's like PACCAR is it's like the bottom, the bottom rung of the ladder. International had a problem with their motors years ago with the Max Force engine. Nobody liked it. Nobody liked the Max Force engine, and it wasn't EPA compliant either. That was part of the problem. That's why they went to Cummins. International got sued like crazy. So, but you look at all these different truck manufacturers out there, and it's like, which engine would you prefer? I would prefer the Detroit diesel, but you can't get it in a Peterbilt. As far as I know, you can't. If you like Detroit diesel engines, you can't get it in a Peterbilt or a Kenworth. So it's like, well, you can get it in a Volvo and you can get it in a Freightliner. We'll take a look at Mack. Mack is owned by Volvo. So, then Volvo, I think was that Swedish, origin? Something like that. Some European country over there. Freightliner is owned by Daimler. Daimler's owned, Daimler Chrysler Freightliner. Daimler is I think one of the European countries. I can't remember which one. Is that Germany? Daimler? PACCAR owns Peterbilt and Kenworth. So, and that's an American-based company. Volvo is not an American-based company, but they own Mack. Yeah, I don't know who owns International. I don't know. It's something we'll have to research. It used to be these trucks used to have Caterpillar engines, and guys used to love the Caterpillars. But when the EPA regulations came in for EGR and DEF and the after treatment system, Caterpillar didn't want nothing to do with it, so they stopped putting Caterpillar engines in the trucks. So that was another engine manufacturer that just left the entire marketplace. And guys really like their Caterpillar engines. But yeah, I think Detroit is the best one from what I can gather. That might be a reason to stay with Freightliner. It's like, well, it would be nice to make a change, but if you're looking for the best engine, it could be Detroit diesel. But if you're only going to have the truck for 2 years, I mean, you should be able to get a run at 2 years out of a Cummins and then decide if you want to buy another one. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the internet.